Good afternoon. My name is Rick Ron. I'm a special agent in charge with the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming here today, and we wanted to pass along some information to you as well as the community and the nation as a whole. Behind me I have representatives from the Iowa Department of Public Safety, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the Poweshiek County Sheriff's Office. What I'd like to do first is read a brief statement to you, and then after that I'll be happy to take as many questions as I can. A first-degree murder charge was filed today in connection with the disappearance of Mollie Tibbetts, who was last seen jogging in Brooklyn, Iowa on July 18, 2018. A complaint and affidavit names Cristhian Bahena Rivera, age 24, who resides in rural Poweshiek County, and he has been charged with murder in the first degree. Dozens of law enforcement officials from local, state, and federal agencies were involved in the investigation after the disappearance of Mollie Tibbetts. A body was discovered early this morning in a farm field southeast of Brooklyn, Iowa. The identity has not been confirmed, however, we believe it to be the body of Mollie Tibbetts. A complaint and affidavit, which will be provided to you, will provide the details and of allegations against Mr. Rivera. Charges were filed in the Poweshiek County District Court. The case will be prosecuted by the Iowa Attorney General's Area Prosecution Division, and first-degree murder carries a penalty of life without the possibility of parole. And I'll be happy to answer as many questions as I can. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. We have confirmed with Homeland Security Investigations that he is an illegal alien, and we believe he has been in this area now for 4 to 7 years.
How did you come into contact with him? How did you get on your radar?
Well, during the investigation, we reached out to the public, as you well know. And during our neighborhood canvass, we came across an individual that had security cameras. We took those cameras. He was kind enough to give us the footage from it. And through that, we were able to identify a vehicle that we believe belonged to Mr. Rivera. It was a black Malibu. And from that, we were able to track his pattern and the routes in which he took. We're also able to find Mollie running on this video, and we're able to determine that he was one of the last ones to have seen Mollie running based on the video, again, that we were able to seize from the general public. I'm sorry?
Do you believe that he abducted her? What did he tell you? What do you believe he did?
Well, again, we were able to pull him in during the investigation. We conducted a lengthy interview with Mr. Rivera, and during that interview, he tells us that he sees Mollie running and was able to come upon her, approach her, and while he was interfacing with her, he actually tells us that he ran alongside of her or behind her. And then at one point he tells us that Mollie grabbed a hold of her phone and said, "You need to leave me alone, I'm going to call the police." And then she took off running. He in turn chased her down, and then he tells us that at some point in time he blacks out, and then he comes to near an intersection in which we believe he then placed Mollie.
Do you believe that he raped her or attacked her?
I'm sorry?
Where did this happen?
On 385th Street.
In what town?
In Brooklyn, outside of Brooklyn, actually, in the rural county, just outside of Brooklyn, Iowa.
This side over here, that general area has been searched by investigators the last several weeks. What led you specifically to this area today, this morning?
On 385th Street,
Yeah.
or the location of Mollie? Because there are two different locations.
Location where Mollie's remained.
Actually, after we got done interviewing Mr. Rivera, he led us to her location. And that location was near 460th Street or Avenue in rural Poweshiek County.
Any information on how she was killed?
We aren't able to release all the information on the investigation, and so I hope you understand that I can't give everything out, and that is one of the things that we're not able to provide at this time.
Investigators have been searching this area.
I'm sorry?
Did Rivera know Mollie before?
Again, I'm not going to be able to provide certain information. That is one of which I'm not able to provide. Had a question?
Investigators have been searching this area for weeks. Why was she not found before? Why did it take this suspect to leave her body?
Well, I'm sure you've driven around the area, and it's a rural county, and there are a lot of fields, a lot of woods, a lot of ditches. We have certainly had extensive searches throughout the county. We just didn't have success locating her. In this particular case, she was found in a cornfield, and there were corn stalks placed over the top of her, and so we just weren't able to locate her at this particular part of the investigation. Yes?
Can you talk about the timeline when you got this security video, when you found out about Mr. Rivera, when you questioned him, just kind of when this all happened?
Well, we got the video a week or two ago, and we spent hours going through the video trying to, first of all, locate Mollie on it. Secondly, see if there's anything suspicious following Mollie, which is what we did. And so we again spent hours going through that. Officers did a great job coming up with the timeline. I mentioned to you last week that we felt very good about our timeline. That just confirmed our timeline that we had. And then again, we were able to determine what vehicle was following Mollie. We identified that vehicle belonging to Mr. Rivera, and then we located him, interviewed him, and subsequently he led us to her location.
How long have you been talking to him? You said 2 weeks ago you got this video. How long have you been talking to the suspect before finally...
We first approached Mr. Rivera yesterday.